Hello, this is Margaret Rosen, nickname Maggie. Anyway, I'm doing the chart of Boris Johnson today, Prime Minister of England. Um, so Boris Johnson was born June 19th, 1964, very much a Gemini, at 2 p.m., New York, New York. So he's born in the U.S. Um, so he has Sun in Gemini, Moon in Scorpio. I was wondering what made him so fiery and articulate. Just it's interesting to see them fight it out in the Commonwealth the way they do. Yeah, so he's pretty fiery. He's got a whole stellium in Gemini that he uses. Um, his ascendant is Libra, so that would give him sort of a pleasant. Actually, Libra, it's balanced by the scales. It's ruled by the scales, and it's ruled by Venus and Saturn. So he does care about justice, and it can sometimes give you good looks, or a pleasant voice, a pleasant demeanor, love of the arts. But let me talk about his stellium in uh, in Gemini. Sun in Gemini, Libra, Cardinal Libra rising, ascendant, and his moon is wow, his moon is 0 degrees Libra. So no, actually his moon is 0 degrees Scorpio. So it just left Libra. It is in the first house. So he does have Libra in the first house, but it's an intercepted house. So it's 0 degrees Scorpio, which gives him all the fire and the passion and the drive and the intensity. I was wondering where his intensity came from, his passion. So yeah, it could be the moon in Scorpio. And the ruler, the ruler of Scorpio is Mars, god of war, Mars, and Mars is aggression, assertiveness, and Pluto as well is the ruler of Scorpio. So he uses his Pluto to put his point across. Yeah, put his point across with great passion and intensity. Um, So I'm just going to jump to his stellium. He has Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, up there in the ninth house of value. So his value system is very strong. The ninth house is the house of Sagittarius. It's a mutable sign. And Gemini is mutable as well. So he has the ruler of Mercury, the ruler of Gemini there, that helps him with his being articulate. Um, and he has the sun, and he also has Venus, 28 degrees Gemini. So he's very skilled and poised with words. I believe he was a journalist, and held several other any career where he could articulate and communicate, because he's very, very skilled at it, and he enjoys it. So Venus would be attraction, good luck, attraction, good, it would attract, it's what you like. So he likes, could be a great attorney, or he's a politician. And so the Sun Mercury conjunction gives him great skill as well with communication, and he likes doing it. His North Node is up in the midheaven. That's what you're fated to strive towards in this lifetime. It's up in, looks like it's Cancer. I think it's in Gemini. Let me just make sure. 2 degrees Cancer, so it just kind of came out of Gemini. So Cancer, he was born in a Cancer country. He was born in the U.S., in New York. Huh. Um, yeah, so yeah, he cares deeply about his country, and is willing to fight for it. Um, so it's almost in this whole Gemini stellium. So he has a true purpose. He has a true purpose to to bring his homeland, the way he would like it. Anyway, moving on. I'm just jumping to where he has planets in the eighth house again. That's it's his eighth house is Scorpio's house, and he has it in Taurus. So Taurus is fixed and stubborn. So I've seen that when he just, stomps his foot or puts his foot down and walks out, and um, that would be Mars 1 degree in the eighth house, Scorpio's house in Taurus, fixed stubborn Taurus. So Mars would be aggression, and Jupiter would be expansion with joint assets. So the joint assets, um, is what he was striving to change of the nation. I'm not going to get into the politics because I'm not really all up on them in Great Britain. But yeah, the eighth house having Jupiter there brought him good fortune with money, with assets, and managing assets. And Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. So to have those both in Taurus, which Taurus is assets and money, it's the money house. Um, and to have those in Scorpio, also Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. So that's his passion as well, his drive, his fieriness, his fieriness. Although he has no fire, Mars is the ruler of a fire sign, Aries. And so I kind of thought he might have some, that's, I believe, where his fire comes from the Scorpio side, from both the eighth house and from his Scorpio moon. Very intense and passionate. And so he articulates that with this stellium in Gemini. So his second house of money and assets is again in Scorpio. It's an intercepted house. So there has been some confusion and some maybe disillusionment and maybe deceit and just nebulous. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So having that in his money asset house, maybe trying to control the country's assets, brought a little dissent. However, he does, excuse me, he does have a beautiful grand air trine, grand air trine, because he has Saturn. Saturn is 5 degrees. Let me just make sure. Saturn is 5 degrees Pisces, although it's counting it as Aquarius because it's that close to Aquarius's house. So Saturn is trining his whole stellium in Gemini, and that is trining his moon, 0 degrees. So because it's on the cusp of Libra and Scorpio, it's counted as a trine, as an air trine. And because Saturn is within 5 degrees of Aquarius, it's counted as an air trine, and they're they're trining all of his Gemini air. So he uses that as a politician, and with law, journalism, whatever it does, and he uses that to get his point across. He has Aries on his seventh house of partnerships, so there's some fire in the partnerships. Aries is ruled by Mars, so is Scorpio. So he uses that Martian energy also to put his point across regarding joint assets. Yeah, he wanted to disengage from. Yeah, I'm not going to get into this whole political thing, but yeah, regarding your British assets, leaving the euro. Anyway, 11th house, 11th house of hopes, wishes, dreams. It's Aquarius's house of. It's in Virgo of friends, friends and associates. He has the ruler, one of the rulers of Aquarius is Uranus, the other ruler of Aquarius is Saturn, and they're at an opposition. So the opposition is Saturn is opposing Pluto and Uranus. So when he brings about these sudden, Uranus' sudden, unexpected, different, maybe revolt or rebellious changes, having Pluto there as well, the ruler of Scorpio, and not everyone, because of the opposition to Saturn, people, it's a hard aspect, put it that way. It's a hard aspect, and not everyone would agree with him, and he would have to fight it out to get that across. And that's what he's been doing. And so it was seen as a revolt and revolutionary, I think, um, because of Pluto and Uranus in Virgo. So in the work, and just, kind of like going on strike in Parliament and walking out because they wouldn't leave they wouldn't leave the euro or whatever the thing was. Yeah. Anyway, it was like a whole huge revolt. And so Pluto added to that. He wanted to end things, structures as they were and change them. Uranus is change. And so the people would be the 11th house of Aquarius. That's the people, the group at work were not going for it. And so he had to, that's what they do. They fight it out. So he had Saturn fighting it out, the opposition fighting it out with Uranus and Pluto. So yeah, how that turned out, I don't know. I don't keep up with the BBC that much, but yeah, I kind of found it interesting, though, to see him all fired up in Parliament. So he has Mars, his Mars 1 degree Gemini, fighting it out too. Mars is a fighter. So he has Mars fighting it out with Pluto. Wow, Mars square Pluto is powerful. It is powerful, driven. It could be very argumentative. Pluto's the ruler of Scorpio, and it's very, it has a will of steel. It's very driven, very driven. And Mars too. So between those two squaring each other, he is one powerful presence to fight with. So yeah, he did that by walking out, and that surprised everyone. And that would be Uranus's sudden, unexpected changes. And it is squaring his Mars. His Mars in Mars Mars is 1 degree Gemini, but it's so close. It's right on the cusp of Taurus. So yeah, people disagreed about him changing the monetary system, and so he just walked out. That would be his Uranus Pluto squaring Mars. That's sort of how he went about it. But again, he does have Jupiter, lucky, good fortune, expansive Jupiter in the 8th house of joint assets. So he's good luck with money, and it's trining the Earth sign Virgo. So that gives him power, prestige, good fortune in money, politics, all of that. Because Jupiter is good luck with joint assets. So he does that through fighting it out with his cronies, I guess. Anyway, he also has trying to from Venus to Saturn, words to Saturn. Yeah. And he has the main things are the opposition. That opposition I was just talking about, having, you can use that. You can use that to get ahead. And he also has really hard square from Saturn to Mars. Yeah, so he's got 2 squares to Mars. So that's where he gets his fire. That's where he gets his fire. I knew he had fire in him somewhere. So that's where he gets it, these two squares, and especially a Mars square Pluto, that is one powerful person. That is just kind of like an explosion, blowing up or arguing with that person. It's like a Scorpio personality or Aries. It colors it that way. And the other square, Mars square Saturn, it's very, very, excuse me, very hard square as well. So I'm just going to break down his elements. I kind of went through all his planets. His Chiron is in the sixth house of work, so that could give him, it's the wounded healer, maybe a little sensitivity in that area. Fifth house, he has Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn, 5 degrees Pisces is nebulous. Pisces is, yeah, it's kind of nebulous. So his point that he very sternly tries to put across, coming from the fifth house of Pisces, Pisces is very mutable. It's mutable. It's ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. So people don't always get that, maybe. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to break down his elements. He's very, very much air. He has no fire, but he acts fiery. That's what impelled me to do his chart. Compelled. So his air is his ascendant Libra. So he can be quite pleasant, good looking, charming, all of that, because Libras present that as a rule. And then he has Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, making him a great, eloquent um, communicator in whatever capacity he chooses. It's on his midheaven, so he would have a public service, be in the public eye, have a public service career. And having Uranus and Pluto also in Virgo is a life of service. Service in some capacity, opposing Saturn. So that's all his air. His earth is Jupiter, um, Uranus, and Pluto. Uranus and Pluto in Virgo, and his other earth was Jupiter, excuse me, Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter in Taurus, lucky Taurus, so he's good with money, very good with money. Yeah, he was trying to help with the money of the country, but I guess some of the people weren't going for that. And it's just so interesting the way they fight it out in Britain, because, well, I guess we fight it out here too in the US, but just in a different way. It's interesting. So that's his earth, and he's very watery. Most of his water seems to be in Pisces and Scorpio. Very, very deep water, very sensitive too. Um, his north node and the MC, his midheaven, are in water. So they're directly in Cancer. Cancer is very patriotic. They can be very, very patriotic and nationalistic and very sensitive as well. Nurturing. Um, yeah, so he so he has the North Node and the Midheaven in Cancer. So he has put his mark up there in a very sensitive way through his communication skills. Eloquent. Moon Neptune, Scorpio. Moon Neptune, Scorpio, very watery. Moon is 0 degrees Scorpio, so I did say it did count as the grand air trine that he has. That helps with his communication skills, but it is in Scorpio, which gives him an added intensity and passion. 0 degrees, so it just takes on all the Scorpio power. And he has Neptune in Scorpio as well, in the second house of assets, money, money. Um, and they're sextiling his that's an easy, flowing, harmonious aspect to his Virgo planets. So that's good for him. So that's all his earth, but he has a lot of water. He has Moon Neptune, Moon Neptune in Scorpio, and Saturn and Chiron in Pisces. So he's very sensitive. He's very sensitive and intuitive. Yeah, so he kind of has an interesting chart. Sun is trying the moon. That's good. It means he gets along with himself. Yeah, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.